Hey guys, so this is something that I haven't really talked about a ton before, but I kind of have. You can kind of go back and see on my older videos, but I want to talk about REDs. So some of my older videos, you can kind of see me in the thick of dealing with REDs, which is relative energy deficiency in sport. And yeah, I just want to kind of make a longer video about it because it's something that has affected me and my life in so many ways, and it's something that no athlete should ever have to go through. So I want to talk to you about it and hopefully raise some awareness about REDs, but also if you're in the same boat or if you're in a similar boat, I want you to know that you're not alone and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Also, first of all, this is not medical advice if you my dog just came in. This is not medical advice. If you are going through something like this or you think you might be, I highly recommend going to a doctor because they can get you the help that you need. And honestly, seeing a professional, doctors, sports nutritionist, all of the above really helped me in my journey. Like, that was the most helpful thing. So go see a real doctor. This is just my personal experience that I want to share with you. Okay, let me start at the beginning. So, in 10th grade, I had just moved to a new school. This was back in 2023. The beginning of 2020, the middle of 2023, you know what I mean? I just moved to a new school because I had experienced some really bad bullying at my old school. So after 9th grade, we had to move, and we actually moved houses. Now, in 9th grade, my mental health was suffering so bad. And I'll make a video about my whole high school story soon. I can do that. But in 9th grade, my mental health was suffering really bad. And I was part of a cheer team, and I quit that cheer team, and that's where a lot of the bullying started. But sports has always pretty much been my outlet ever since I was a toddler. I've been an athlete, It's always been my outlet and something I just need to thrive. And I love being an athlete. I love it. So in 9th grade, after I quit cheer, I joined the soccer team, and then that didn't really work out, and we moved. So at the beginning of 10th grade, I was like, what's a sport that I can do? Because I didn't want to go back to cheer. I wasn't good enough for soccer to be on my school's soccer team. So I was like, what can I do? Cross country is not a cut sport. I'm going to start cross country. Sorry, let me silence my phone. So I decided that I was going to start cross country. So I joined the cross country team, and it was fun. It gave me an outlet. It made me realize that running made me realize that in so many ways, whatever I want, I can achieve just with the work that I put in, right? And so I realized I can be as good at running as I want. I just have to work hard for it. And I loved running. It kind of saved me in a lot of ways. So I loved cross country, and I decided that I wasn't going to do track that year. This makes me sound like a baby, but mostly because the spring was so cold and I didn't want to do that. But I still kept running on my own, and I'm really glad I did. But I kept running, and I kept training, and I kept getting really fast. And by May of 2024, I was running 40-mile weeks. And so I had started running in August 2023. By May of 2024, I was running around 40-mile weeks, and my easy pace was like 8 minutes and 30 seconds, which is pretty good. And I was getting so fast in the 5K. And to me, so fast. A lot of people don't think it's fast, but my PR was like 22:30 something. And I was so proud of myself for that. So I felt really good about running, so I was like, I'm going to keep running, right? Yeah. The important thing to realize, though, here is I did not realize that with more training, you have to eat more calories. And being 15, 16 years old, I'm 18 now, I didn't think about calories. I wasn't counting calories. I wasn't paying attention to what calories were. I was just eating what made me feel good, right? And which apparently was not enough. A lot of people think that REDS, relative energy deficiency in sport, comes from an eating disorder, or an ED. I don't know if that's going to get me censored. A lot of the time it does, and that is very heartbreaking. And I don't know. I have not struggled with an ED. I think I have struggled with troubled eating, if that makes sense. But yeah. So I wasn't paying attention to calories or anything like that. I just did not care and was kind of oblivious to the fact that I'm burning so many calories a day and my body isn't able to keep up with all of the activity that I'm doing and its normal daily functions that it needs to do to survive, right? So when that happens, it shuts down non-essential systems, things like your reproductive system, right? This might be TMI, but it's normal for the girls in my family to not get their period until they're like 16 or 17. Oh my god, I'm about to say this to so many people. It's okay, because periods are a normal thing. It's very natural. I did not get my first period until last summer, and I was 17 and a half. Now, I don't know, the Reds probably delayed that a little bit, but the point of this is I was already delayed a little bit in that sense. So, yeah. But Reds also, I think, delayed it further, if that makes sense. So, from May through July, I felt like I was at my peak. I was training so hard, so consistently. I was feeling so good. It was amazing. My camera's about to die, so we are back. My camera is not dead anymore. So, I think we ended it in May. From May to July, I was feeling amazing. I was on cloud 9. I was running, like I said, like 40 miles per week, like an 8:30 easy pace. I felt like I was getting pretty fast. My 5Ks were amazing. My long runs were amazing. I felt so good. And often that's how you feel at the beginning of Reds. And I think there's not a lot of information out there about Reds right now, which is why I think it's so important that all athletes should be educated about why calories and food are so important and why you should train to be stronger, not smaller or anything, especially in sports where smaller bodies are pushed a lot, or you're told that you will perform better if you're smaller. That's not true. You perform best if you're strong and if you're adequately fueled and your muscles are strong and you're resting enough and all of that. But I digress. I just didn't know. And so in July, I went, at the end of June, I went to FBLA Nationals, which was in Orlando, Florida, and it was so much fun. I went for business law, but that's not the point. I went to FBLA Nationals, and we were going to Universal a lot, and I was so active because while I was there, I was running about 4 to 6 miles each day while I was there. I was also not doing any strength training at the time, which is also pretty detrimental, which also probably caused my injury. But I was running 4 to 6 miles a day. I was walking around Universal all day. We were also walking to the bus stop and walking all around town. So there was a ton of activity going on. But on top of that, because I'm gluten-free, I didn't have access to a lot of foods because most of the fast food and restaurant food and hotel food was not gluten-free. So I basically only had the snacks that I packed and then whatever my dad DoorDashed to the hotel, which was not often. I did not, the point is I did not eat nearly as much as I should have for doing all that activity. So I was there for a week, and then when I got home the day before the 4th of July. Which on the 4th of July, I love to do 4th of July 5Ks. I did the 5K. It was my best 5K time yet up to that point. Like, I felt amazing. Oh my god. I was so proud of myself for doing that 5K. I was so proud of my time. It felt amazing the whole time. It was really cool. But after that 5K, I kept running for about a week, and then I felt a little pain inside my inner left thigh. And I was like, oh, that's a little unpleasant. I'm going to keep running because in my head, if I took any time off, I was going to get bad at running and I wasn't going to be fast anymore. And so mentally, it felt so scary to take time off, even though I was in a lot of pain. That is my first mistake. Don't do that. If you're in pain, rest. Rest. Around that time, when I had that pain, I also started feeling a little bit shaky and like low blood pressure-y, but I didn't think anything of it because, again, I didn't realize that I wasn't eating enough and I didn't realize that I wasn't resting enough. So in my head, I was just like, maybe I'm just a little bit tired. So I kept running, and the pain kept getting worse, and I went to summer cross-country practice one day, like preseason summer training practice, right? And I remember standing there, and we were talking about, like, how fast I was getting, and how good I felt, and how amazing it was, and we were doing 1,000-meter repeats, and I just remember my hip hurts really bad. And so I went home, and I decided to take 3 days off of running. I took those 3 days off, I went back, and on my first run back, I immediately felt the pain. So I was like, shoot. I took 5 more days off of running. And then on my little test run back after those 5 days off of running, I went a mile away from home. I was in pain the whole time. And then once I was a mile away, I started crying because I could not walk anymore. And so I called my dad, and I was like, I can't do it. And my parents, they both knew that my hip was hurting, but I didn't say how bad it was because I didn't want to go to the doctor, because I didn't want the doctor to tell me that I couldn't run anymore. So I didn't want anyone to know that I was in pain. I also didn't really want my parents to worry about me that much, because I just feel bad, like, having them worry about me. I don't know. But after that, my mom was like, okay, this is more than just you're hurting. You are hurting. We're going to the urgent care. And I was like, fine, because I couldn't walk. So we went to the urgent care, and we were waiting there from literally like 5 to 7 p.m. And then they finally gave me an x-ray. And the lady was like, I can't see anything on the x-ray, but you're probably fine. My granddaughter, her hips hurt sometimes, but she still does gymnastics, and she's just fine. So you can keep running. My mom was livid. She was like, you're not going to keep running. My mom kept pushing that doctor to be like, no, something is wrong. So, and I was pretty upset too, because I couldn't walk without pain. You know, it was really upsetting. So instead, you know what I did? I swam laps. And that's probably the only time I'm ever going to swim laps in my life is when I'm injured, but yeah. So it gave me something to do, and it made me feel strong in a different way, you know what I mean? Which is kind of what I needed. So my mom called around and got me into a sports orthopedic surgeon. And she did not tell me it was an orthopedic surgeon, because I wouldn't have gone, because I was so convinced, like, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm fine. I'm going to come out the other end of this just fine. I'm going to be able to run. So we went to the sports orthopedic surgeon, and he himself is a runner, which I'm very grateful for. I am very grateful for that doctor and the entire team, like, of everyone that helped me, because doctors are really amazing people. And so he was like, so I'm like 99% sure you have a femoral neck stress fracture, which is a stress fracture. So it's not like a break from impact, right? It's a stress fracture is a break from repetitive movement, mine being running. He asked me if I have been eating enough, if I've been resting enough, and if I have my period. And so that was kind of where he got that idea. He referred me to get an MRI, and he referred me to a sports dietitian. So he was like, basically, you probably have a femoral neck stress fracture, which is a stress fracture. Remember the repetitive movement of the femoral neck. So the bone, your femur, right? But the very top where it connects to your hip. So he said if it's compression side, which is on the inside, you probably don't need surgery, and we can likely be a little bit more conservative about how we handle it. But if it's tension side, which is on the outside, that's where all the pressure, the tension is on, you're likely going to need surgery, and you're going to need to get rods in your hip. So I was freaking out. The MRI people, like, the fastest they could get me in was 6 weeks later. So 6 weeks later, so basically what I did was I took an insane amount of calcium. I rested like crazy. Okay, I was completely non-weight bearing on crutches for those 6 weeks, and that was really hard at school because people were already bullying me and making fun of me. Now I got to get made fun of and called very unnecessary names for having crutches. So that was also very fun. It was really hard. And during that time, I started having more anxiety attacks, and Yeah, because I was so nervous about that and just about not running, and I couldn't do cross country, so like my only friends or people that I hung out with were on the cross country team, and I was never seeing anyone, and I was just so alone, and it was a really, really hard time. But that's a story for another day. My mental health was horrible. Horrible. I never want to go back to that time. Speaking of that though, running is my happy place. You know, I've said this, but it's what makes me feel confident in myself, and just, it brings me so much peace, especially as someone that has always struggled greatly with anxiety. When I run, I feel like I can suppress my anxiety and it's just not there anymore, right? So having that taken away was really, really hard. So I started at this point, I was kind of like, okay, well, I've already been underfueling. Now that I'm not running, I probably don't need as much food, right? So I wasn't very hungry because I think my anxiety was so high and I was so focused on how stressed I was that I just didn't take into account, like, hey, I'm hungry, right? So I did not eat as much as I should have. I still ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I didn't really like finish all of it. And in order to heal, your body needs calories, and I wish I wasn't so caught up in my head, because I think had I not been so caught up in my head, had I not been so anxious, maybe, I don't know, but I think I could have healed from REDS a lot earlier had I not been so anxious, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that was a really difficult time in my life. Like, I'll look at pictures of myself now versus pictures of me then, or you can even go back on my YouTube channel here and you can find like videos of me. I think my first ever YouTube video was one of my first YouTube videos was me decorating my crutches. So yeah, I'll link that below. But if you look at me, I look at myself then and I look at myself now and I'm like, wow, I'm such a different person, just physically and mentally and everything. Wow, that was deep. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. So, for those 6 weeks, I was on crutches and I was so terrified of having to get surgery. Luckily, I got the MRI, and actually, in the MRI machine, it took about a little over an hour for me to get the MRI, but while I was in the machine, they were like, what music do you want to listen to? And I was like, Christmas music in, October. Why not? September? Somewhere around there. But I was like, yeah, why not listen to Christmas music? And then they gave me a heated blanket, and it was wonderful. I fell asleep inside the MRI machine. And they were like, we've never had someone fall asleep inside the loud, clanging MRI machine. And I was like, I'm your first. Yeah. But I got the MRI, and the results came back, and guess what? It was not tension side, so I was okay, but I was non-weight bearing on crutches for a little over 2 months, which was very hard, and my armpits hurt so bad from that. Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna talk about life after that, right? So, I was finally able to get off of crutches, and my left leg was so weak. I had been on crutches before. I broke my ankle. I broke both bones in my ankle when I was 11. Flag football. But, so I was on crutches before, but never for 2 months. So my left leg was weak. So I did some physical therapy exercises just at home, to strengthen me. And then I also went on walks, which not only helped my mental health, helped keep me busy, but also helped rebuild that strength in my left leg. So that was all I did. And then I started doing lightly strength training with no weights, just like body weight strength training exercises, which is so important for you. If you're an athlete of any kind, strength train, do it. But, let me see. So I did that. And then in, I think, November. So in October, I even walked a 5K that I signed up for because I just really missed the racing atmosphere, In November, I was finally able to do walk-run intervals, which were invented by Jeff Galloway, who sadly passed recently. But the walk run method is basically where you walk for a few minutes and then you run for a few minutes, and you just kind of do that in intervals, and it's really good for you. It helps a lot of people get into running, prevent injury, come back from injury like it did in my case. I love the walk run method. Do the walk run method. I was allowed to only walk for 5 minutes, run for 1 minute 3 times in a row. So I'd walk 5 minutes, run 1 minute, walk 5 minutes, run 1 minute, walk 5 minutes, run 1 minute, just over and over. And I was very frustrated at the beginning because I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't feel like a runner. I feel so, I saw other people running, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if I had not done that to myself, I would be out there too. I was probably going to run varsity junior year, and I missed that because I didn't eat enough, And so I just wish I had known that, hey, if you're going to run a lot, you need to eat a lot. You know what I mean? I really wish I had known that. I was still not really paying attention to calories at this point. Like, I was still not, I was never tracking anything. I was just kind of eating as I saw fit. So, I don't really know. I think I made progress gaining weight and getting stronger. But then in January, my entire family got, like, the Black Plague. It was horrible. We all got so sick. With, like, everyone was getting sick at this time at school and stuff. And it turned into pneumonia. It was a horrible thing. It was just, it was the worst I've felt in, like, my whole life. But during that time, I lost, like, a lot of weight because I was so sick and my throat hurt so bad that, like, I was not having it. I was not hungry. I did not feel like eating anything other than bread, honestly. So I lost weight. And I got, in February, so I remember sitting in my statistics class, and some kids were making fun of my body and saying I looked like a skeleton and all that, which is normal. Like, I've been made fun of for my body my whole life. But it really got to me because I started feeling like, I'm too small. I started feeling like I'm never going to be curvy. I'm never going to have, wide hips or big breasts or anything. So I started getting self-conscious about it. And I also have really bad health anxiety. And at that time, I was, like, really concerned about heart rates, which sounds stupid, but my resting heart rate was, like, 58, which is normal for athletes. But I started getting really concerned. And so I was like, I think I need to go to the doctor. So I made my mom take me to the doctor, and guess what? My heart rate was fine. It was perfectly fine. But the doctor was like, you probably do need to gain weight, especially given your history with Reds. So we made a plan, and I was going to start eating as much fat as I could, a lot more protein, a lot more carbs. Carbs are essential. Okay, carbs are your body's main source of energy. You don't eat carbs, you don't have energy. Plus, carbs are good. You know what I mean? So that's actually where my protein ball recipe came from. Is I needed something that it was just as small as possible so that I didn't feel like I was eating a ton. So I didn't get too full, but it had a lot of calories. So I made the protein balls, which you can find the recipe on my page. I'll also link it in the description. But, yeah. Protein balls are amazing. Shameless plug right there, but they are. So, from February to March, I did not work out at all, which was hard because, like I said, working out is my happy place. It's how I get my feelings out. God, I love working out. It makes me feel so strong and capable, right? I didn't work out at all from February, the entirety of February and March. In April, I started strength training again. And, so I only strength trained. And then towards the end of May, I started getting back to doing the walk-run method. And so I started running again, like walking 3 minutes, running 2 minutes, that whole thing. And I still didn't feel exactly like a runner, but I was starting to feel better. In June, I went to see a sports dietitian who I am so, so grateful for. She helped me a ton. I'm telling you, if you are dealing with something like this, go see a dietitian. They are awesome. Dietitians are awesome. She was also a runner, which helped me a lot. She even told me my protein balls were perfect for sports, which I was like, oh my gosh, that makes me feel so good because I created a perfect recipe. It also tastes like cookie dough. So I was really happy with that. So she told me keep eating those protein balls. And we made a plan that worked for me, that worked for eating. I still never tracked calories. She told me she didn't want me to track calories, but she told me like basic sizes of things to eat, right? She said like this much fat or like this much carbs. So it was easy for me to do. Also because I'm not a numbers person, so like I don't know if tracking calories would be super easy because I cannot add or subtract or memorize numbers for anything because I get them backwards all the time. But that's a separate issue. Sorry, I feel like I'm just ranting. I hope this video is helpful and I hope it makes you feel seen in any way. Because Reds needs to be more widely talked about. So I hope this brings value to that. But yeah. And then she told me because of my low bone density, which was caused by Reds. So remember how I told you your body shuts down non-essential systems? Yeah. Your bones are considered a non-essential system. So my bones are not very dense. Well, actually, they're a lot better now. Sorry, I needed to swallow my spit. My throat's getting dry from all this talking. But my bones are getting better, but at the time they were not dense at all. I got a DEXA scan, and my T-score was negative 4.9, which is osteoporosis, which is old people bones. They're like very, very holy, right? My bones are not dense at all. Tons of holes in them. So that is why I broke my hip. But I am now taking an insane amount of calcium to repair that and eating more and strength training a lot. So basically, to fix the bones, I can only run 3 days a week, every other day, and I have to alternate those days with strength training. So I do a lot of that now, which I actually love. I love the strength training and running schedule more than running because I think it's actually a lot more fun. And it makes me feel so good and strong. So, yeah. I have realized, though, now, it is a lot easier for me to take rest days. Like, I don't feel bad for taking rest days at all anymore. I even sometimes take 3 or 4 rest days a week. So, yeah, I don't feel bad about not working out every day. I've recovered mostly. I get a follow-up DEXA scan in a few months to see how far my bone progress has gone, which it has gone up, so that's really good. But I want you to know, though, healing from Reds takes a lot, right? I started healing from Reds in June. It took me a year, okay, to fully repair the damage, and I'm not even fully repaired. It's taking a long time. If you don't mess it up in the first place, you only get one body, Take care of your body. You should not love anything more than you love your body. Your body was given to you, and it was created for you, and you need to treat it well, in response. So I made a list of things just some tips I've learned. So let me read those to you. 1, listen to your body. That's kind of a given. Pain is not something you push through. If something hurts, that's your body telling you, chill out, bro. You know what I mean? Listen to the pain and don't run through it. That was my first mistake. 2, fuel for your activity. Underfueling, as we've all learned from this, can really hurt you. Yes, it can. Eating is so important. Strength training prevents injury, helps performance, it's so good for your muscles, it's so good for your bones, it's so good for your heart. Do strength training. Even if you don't have dumbbells, even if you don't have weights, do body weight strength training. Any sort of strength is good, okay? Rest days are necessary. They are not optional. Always rest. Always, always, always. Look, Sunday, every Sunday is a rest day for me, no matter what. I always take Sunday off. I even sometimes take Saturday or Friday or Wednesday off. I rest as I see fit. Rest days are amazing. And on rest days, you should not eat any less than you normally eat. Eat the same amount. Eat more. I don't care. Just don't restrict food just because you're not working out that day. You know what I'm saying? Work with a professional. Like I said, doctors, sports dietitians, registered dietitians, they're so helpful. They are more helpful to you because they can tailor it to you. Everyone is so different. Everyone's body is so different, okay? You can't do something just because someone else did it and expect to get the same results, right? Recovery takes time. It is very hard, mentally and physically. It's very draining. It's very exhausting. But I'm here to tell you it is so worth it. I am the happiest I've ever been. It is so worth it. It is so worth it. Also, keep snacks and meals. That way you always have anything. Even I kind of had to train myself to eat when I'm not hungry in order to get stronger and gain weight and beat reds. But also, always eat before you run or before you work out. Don't work out on an empty tank. For me, even if that means waking up early to get a snack in and then going back to bed before practice, as long as I have something in my body that's well digested, so I feel good, that's all that matters. Even if you have to eat it 2 hours before practice, that's better than nothing, right? Just eat. So anyway, that's my story. If you want, I'll probably make a follow-up video about how I came back from my hip injury and what things helped me after the broken hip and all of that. But I can elaborate on it further, but that's kind of my experience with reds. I just want you to know that if you are dealing with something similar, it's so worth it to get better. It's so worth it to find a professional that can help you, a doctor that can help you. And it was really hard, but it has taught me so much that I needed to know about myself. I think sometimes if something like this happens, maybe it's your sign that you needed a reset. And that reset takes time, but it's so worth it. And this journey has not been easy, but it has taught me a lot about patience and self-respect and truly taking care of yourself, especially as an athlete. So I just want you to know, eat enough, especially if you're training. Know what reds is, because I actually did a science project on reds because of how much it's affected me, but it was something crazy like 60% of coaches don't know what reds is. I'm very grateful that mine does, and she was kind of helpful in me figuring out that I was dealing with reds. But yeah, so anyway, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry if this video was kind of long, but I just wanted to be fully honest, so I hope it helps someone in the future, or right now, or, if you need it. And yeah, so that's my Reds journey so far. I'm still kind of coming back from it, but I'm better than ever now, so yeah. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.